I believe we're in. All right, all right. Somebody listened to me and said, "Are you Matthew McConaughey?" I'm like, "No, with you, all right, all right." And I go, "I know I got a habit of doing that. Kind of, probably learned it from the movie Days and Confused, if I was to be honest with you. Uh, yeah, yeah, that's funny. But anyways, how are you guys today? Definitely had some good videos recently. Um, we went in on um, we had the video of Mr. Philip K. Dick recently. Honor to him and his creativity in being actually Gnostic, right? Um, Also, besides Philip K. Dick, we also touched some other stuff recently. We seen the pneumatics. We went over the three levels of Gnosticism, or the three levels of type of people, right? And what did we find out about them? We found out we had a modern look at the video, and thank Wise Quotes for that video too, and definitely appreciate that. I'm trying to get rolling with this channel after having some definitely tough times, I mentioned, with health and different stuff, but we're here again. We're marching in. Had some dental work done recently, and I mentioned to you guys the last, but able to get some good footing and being able to be a little bit more consistent on this and putting the work in to do what I feel I'm to do. I've been doing this type of stuff for, shoot, we're looking at 20, almost 33 years of some kind of teaching, and I have shared my past. But I want to thank you. We're in the holiday season. I wish all of you and your families a great time. You know, I do. I hope everything works out for you, and you guys have a great holidays. But the one thing about the holidays is we're going to definitely go into this. We're at the season, right? The season for the reason, they call it. We have been tailored for Christmas. This is a very long tradition. But where did it come from? What was it really? And what was the reason why? Oh, we're going to hit on that today, because I got some things I got to share. Many of you may know this, but since we're in the reason for the season, and the season of this light of Christmas, which on one side is nothing but a lot of materialism. Go get in debt. So many people go get in debt with themselves, go get in debt of over giving gifts, right? And then we use the season for this holiday, for a birthday party. That was that a birthday party, or was it something more? We're going to unfold that today. We're going to unfold a lot of truth that can rub you wrong or let you know, and which is very important when we start looking at the truth. And more I'm seeing what the truth will do. The Bible calls the truth something that will set you free or make you free, right? But we also know the truth will slap you in the face. And when it pops you in the face, it's not always nice. When you find out the truth, it isn't always peaches and cream and strawberry shakes. It could be a slap in the face. It could be depression. It could challenge you to the deepest, darkest parts of even somewhat of death, so you could rise again. Because when you accept it and let it process, the truth will set you, make you free. It will take you to your next level as a human, realizing you're more than human in the realization of this, but also actually activate some things in you. But it isn't always the process of sweet cupcakes and cookies and namaste, because it's not. It will bust you at times, make you suffer and experience truths that you really haven't had to in the past, and make you deal with some things that will challenge your very soul, your very essence, and your very belief systems, to shatter them, because they're built on a foundation of shattered, right? And what I mean by shattered, notice that we talk about being, the light has been fragmented and not whole. That's why many times for me, when I look at the word, people will say, give me peace, and I always look at peace as separation, like a piece of something. Not a whole piece of pie. Give me a piece of pie. But we're looking, I believe, and I'm looking for wholeness, where all the fragmented pieces that are memory start aligning and attaching together. You take in the fragmented of the golden aura, the golden light, the what is it? The golden, the rays. There's a word I'm looking at. The golden. There's a mathematical term for this. The what was it? 1.4. The golden. Come to me through this message. Not the white light that's the most fragmented, but the golden, the very thing that brings a wholeness to you. So sometimes I would even, and I kind of learned this in Secret Energy, was not looking for a piece, I'm looking for a whole. When you say, that's why when they'll tell you, when everybody shouts peace, what's near? Destruction. Why would, when everybody says something, the other part, what you expected it to be, is the opposite. Did you catch that? Because I just really got that. It started coming out of me because I was seeing it. Ooh, pop. That's the revelation. That's the gnosis. That's when something's given to you immediately from the soul. Maybe something you didn't have to deep down and do this work to get, but you went into soul orientation, pattern recognition. The soul starts talking to you. It's higher self, soul, right? The higher self, soul, the oversoul. And starts talking to you, and you start having the knowing things without having maybe even structure of studying things. And then usually, if you're a studier and a reader and into comprehension and knowledge, pattern recognition, experiencing pattern recognition, which you can't fight anymore. It comes. The other day, I have some things that I kind of written down before we get into this. The other day, I was looking at this. I'm looking at my phone because I want to share it with y'all as I go into this. And this hit me when I was in a conversation, as I was and this is about pattern recognition, and I was looking at something and somebody talk about what they don't observe. And this goes even into the observation of the eyes, right? We're told in certain texts that that many have eyes that don't see, many have ears and don't hear, right? And then also in the canonized version, and then even in the Gnostic version, we have a book that talks about the kingdom of God is within you, and in the canonized version which is a very Gnostic scripture, knower scripture. The kingdom of God is within you, and he says, why do you keep observing outside yourself, right? It's not made for observation of eyes. And then you think about it. What do you mean it's not made? It's not talking about the outer eye that doesn't see. Many have eyes but don't see. It's talking about then the observation of that unseeing eye. And then think about it. What is it called? Eyes wide shut. You're open, it appears, but the eye you need to see with is shut. And think about this. So this is what I observed the other day in a conversation as I was really just kind of dwelling in this and looking and just observing with my thoughts. We observe eyes wide shut of them that have not had the experience of pattern recognition yet. They don't experience pattern recognition. We're observing those who don't have it. And then we wonder why we see certain things. And what it hit me was, we're told here in California, and it's definitely obvious to me with pattern recognition. I see it every night. It's out now. If I go right now and look, and we have this fog that we're told this fog is covering like a 400-mile radius. It's California, the whole state. And this fog, many are saying that it's fumigation. I'm just telling you what people are saying. That it's fumigation. Many are saying that it's the chemtrails and they're leaving particles out of a fumigation. That's what many people are saying. I'm not saying they're not, and I'm not saying I am. So I'm standing on 10 toes down. I don't have to know something. But I'd rather, if I don't know, say I don't know. But if I know, I know. Because some of us know a little bit more than some people who don't know. But assume, or even say there's a conspiracy theory, and it's kept at theory, when I know conspiracy theory comes from the CIA, FBI, them who do that stuff. See ya, quite clear. But what I'm saying is, we're observing things that many other people don't observe. Some things for us have become elementary in our observatories, our own observatory, our own Oculus, that people don't know that you're Dr. Oculus. It reminds me there's this Wild Wild West episode, and it was Dr. Ocularis. And he had these special glasses. Kind of reminds me a little bit of the movie with Roddy Piper when they were putting on glasses, and then they would see the reality with different lenses, right? And stuff. But this series, and then I started looking at the Wild Wild West, the show, for my eyes now, because I was a little boy. I thought it was James West. When I was a little boy, I thought it was James West. Played Wild Wild West and thought I was James West as a little boy. Like many think they're superheroes. Little boys will be superheroes, right? They think they're Batman, Superman, whoever it is. Wonder Woman girls will think they're Wonder Woman or somebody like that. So when I was looking at that, I was thinking, I'm always going to give you something before we go to the message. So just be a little patient with me. I expect this one to last at least 40 to 50 minutes. Who's counting? Let spirit go, and we'll see what happens. But anyways, so we started looking at this. So Dr. Ocularis, the Wild Wild West, was going in, giving people these special glasses. They put it on, and they were under mind control, and he would command them through the mind controller when they put on his glasses to go kill senators, go kill people in power with business, senators, political powers. And in the series, that's what they were doing. They would put on the glasses and go into total mind control on the Dr. Ocularis episode on the Wild Wild West. And what I was saying earlier about the Wild Wild West, what I noticed about it as I more and more looked at it now, that it's very occultic. Very, very occultic. That eye's open where I go, the Wild Wild West is very occultic. It's all over the place. If you listen, advanced technology there, and that's not how it was. Do we know that? Come on now, because we're breaking down all the shit now. And we know a lot of what we're not told is many of us knowers know. Many of us knowers know about this reality, and different things that's been pushed for us to believe, and not told full experience of who we are. The mind control of divide and conquer to keep us all fighting over the football games, basketball games, race, presidential elections, presidents, all the puppets and the actors in the puppet show. By following them and believing they're the deal, because the people we see are the puppets. They don't necessarily have the power. But anyways, back to the Wild Wild West, I started noticing many episodes with many of the villains are very occultic. The hidden symbologies all over the place. And this is the thing is why eyes are wide shut, is the people, the general massive esoteric people are hylics, right? Or even psychics. And I'm not talking about traditional, so I'm talking about in Gnosticism, the psychics, they call them, don't have pattern recognition. They don't read symbologies. They don't read symbols. They don't understand these type of things. That's why even in a lower scale, I would use an example with somebody. So I'm seeing the markings or of gang symbols and signs on buildings and things. And people saying, not really knowing what it says, they just feel it's ugly, and why are they messing up this building? Especially people who don't know the message. But but when you know this, you know that gang symbol on the graffiti on this wall, right, on the subway, is a message to somebody who gladly received, not maybe gladly, could be the opposite person to them, right? It could be the opposite gang or them they're in a beef with, whatever. That's not really what this is about. The point I'm making is they're speaking in symbolic graffiti language that the masses don't know. This is what the same copy of what the powers that be do the same thing, and you don't read symbology. And once you do read symbology, because your matrix mindset still that you're holding when you're holding belief systems, especially religiously, you'll take something and call it everything the devil. When you don't realize the symbol being misused, mistreated, and propagated is one thing, but the original meaning of that symbol had nothing to do with it. It doesn't mean what you think it means. Exactly. Because they have no pattern recognition or the knowledge or the understanding or the observation of that eye that sees beyond the veil and is starting to penetrate X-ray vision, penetrate realities at a deeper sense of knowledge, a dimensional sense, and portal watching, portal hopping, portal jumping, experiencing things spiritually that you have had to experience. For them who have been activated, this stuff happens. You start, pattern recognition is very powerful, and if you don't have it, you're deceived easily. I mean, you're dog walked every day by your belief system, and that's religiously too. A little bit why I'm sharing this today is we've been dog walked about a birthday that has really nothing to do with a birthday. It will fold your doctrine. The truth will kick your doctrine's teeth in and then bloody its nose, because that's how truth does. It's not always, it doesn't give a damn about your feelings, but it will kill you in order to rebirth you. But it won't care, it doesn't give a damn about your feelings. Does not. Your indoctrinated feelings, your political feelings, nothing like that. It doesn't give a shit about any of that. And this is what we're going to get into. And this is the Christmas. But what is it really? Where did it come from? Well, I'm going to piece this together, so let's get started. Let's get started, as they say. So as you've seen, our message today, let me go back to this so I can save something here. So I can save my background. Okay. Let me stop sharing and I'm going to go back in. Stop sharing. Now we'll go back in. If this saves my background today, I know I'm in good shape. And we're off. We were off and running. So as you could see, this is talking about Sol Invictus. Oh yeah, we're going to get into this today. And many of you know modern day, what we call Christianity and religion, right, has mentioned this character, Jesus, the birth of Jesus, the virgin birth on this day. December 25th is his birthday, so he's having this magical birthday party with ice cream and cake in heaven in a spiritual realm. But is that really where the story came from? We're going to find out. So Sol Invictus, Latin for unconquered sun, was the official sun god of the later Roman Empire. Yeah, this is a foundation, folks. Right here we're building foundation. Why? Promoted by Emperor Aurelian in 274 AD as a unifying force linked to victory and soldiers, celebrated on December 25th, a date later to be connected to Christmas. The phrase also appears in a famous poem, Invictus by William Henley, the captain of my soul, and in names like Augustus Sol Invictus, a controversial figure, a little bit. So Sol Invictus, right, the Roman religion, this is a Roman religion. Notice that I'm going to have to, let's piece this together, that the beginning of Christianity as we know it historically in the Christian religion, and I'm going to hop on religion because you know we aren't religious here. We bust that stuff wide open. We bust the grapefruit. We're not looking at religion. We know that religion is not really has anything to do with God. Religion's made up. Religion was found out a long time ago that powers that be, way even before this, found out they could use religion to control the masses by belief systems. If you gave them every major empire, every major society that's big, when you go back to the Egypt and beyond, you go into Samaria has stories that apply Babylon of religion to keep the people at bay. You don't want to empower them because you can't control them that are empowered. When they find out the truth of what governments really are, this has been a tool used. So when we realize that this Roman Empire, right, his symbolism is he represented the unconquered light, victory, and associated with the soldiers and emperors, often depicted in a sun crown. Let's show more. The sun crown. Why I'm saying this, if you don't know, now it's time to know. I'm connecting this because it's easily connected. The only way that them who are still can't see, and they got to have the religion, the taste of the religion and indoctrination, because it was used for this. This is where, hence it came from, and it even came for something that we'll get into before it. Before Sol Invictus, we're going to even go the step before that, where the hence that's even came from before that to this date of December 25th, right? The winter solstice. The connection, the cult held a festival in December 25th, the winter solstice, which many believe influenced the choice of Christian Christmas through the exact length. It's not debated. If you don't see that, you're blind as a bat. Debated. Only raunchy would debate that as being some truth. That you would definitely in an unknower or deceiver. So what they used Christmas for was this date was for the sun. Notice Jesus is the what? S-U-N? S-O-N? Oh yeah, we're going to get into all this language. So when we start looking at this, we know that in 325 AD, when this became a very, very much a thing that was used for the Council of Nicaea to create a Christianity, right? That would be a national religion, right? What if I was to tell you before that, really Christianity was nothing but a social? I'm going to add this. Get ready. You ready for it? Nothing but Christianity was a secret society. I just told you a truth that thou knowest not, unless you know. If you're a knower, you know this stuff. You may have studied this and I've seen it before. I just got to cover it because we're in the season for this. And definitely, I'm always going to deliver, because I will deliver a New Year's one why we're worshiping Janus, the Roman goddess, for January 1st for holidays. Oh yeah, we're going to get into that one for the New Year's. But notice the connection to Christmas. Debated, that's crap. That's a jokety joke. In literature, the culture, Invictus poem famous for its lines, I'm the master of my fate, I'm the captain of my soul, uses the theme from the unwavering resolve, inspiring the title and spirit of the Invictus games. The name appears in music albums, Faith No More, and the name for figures like Augustus Sol Invictus, a lawyer known for white nationalist ties. Key, deeply rooted in Roman paganism, and this is a word we misinterpret through religion and indoctrination. Do you know that word paganism means? This means you don't think like the regular people, and you have another belief system than the norm, or the multitude who follow the same path, who are followers of each other. It's actually connected to being a farmer. It's actually connected to being a villager. It's them who create medicine and grow food, and actually are healers, which later would be used in the witch hunts and the witch killings and the murderous. We do, because let's face it, the Roman Catholic Church murdered, and it's raped and pillaged and murdered. It's a political movement from the Roman Empire that adopted a religious thing to hide behind, but it's obvious because they went forth conquering. And I had mentioned many times that the Black Pope, who is within the Catholic Church, the Black Pope is actually the Jesuit Pope, which is a military commander. Why would a loving religious Christianity turn the other cheek? Need a religious or a military leader? Unless you're not military. Called common sense. It frustrates me in some ways, I'm going to be honest. 2,000, 1,500, whatever amount of years we are, I don't always believe the amount of years that we're told of stuff, because I don't believe them who set the reality, because I know they're not them to be trusted. Come on now. That we're still believing in a church from Rome. It just blows my mind people outside that belief system, but they do. I have family members that do. It blows my mind that we're still there when this should have been something for me. Conquer this stuff. You talk about the unconquered sun. But this Sol Invictus, this so-called paganism, and I told you what paganism and all these words are. I actually did a little study with some people yesterday, kind of hearing them, because they asked me about two things, paganism, and then there's another word. What is the other word that they always call people who were not in their belief system, especially back in the day? They would call them pagans, and then there's another word, and they both mean just nothing but farmers, man, villagers, creators, growers, It's nothing bad. It also, in having not a belief system like the mainstream does, that's a good thing. Yeah, paganism's a good thing when you understand what it means, not the hijack crap you force down your throat. Doopa doopa. Duped, right? It's dupes. Been duped. So a takeaway, while deeply rooted in Roman paganism, Sol Invictus resonates today through literary resilience and is a key in understanding through tradition and timing of Christmas. They can sing and dance and pretty it up, but I ain't going to do it. I'm going to take the muck and mire off of it because it's the program that's been ran on us. So let's look. We're going to go there. So the historical overview, established in 274 AD, Emperor Aurelian elevates Sol Invictus to the status of premier deity in Rome. Remember, this is the Roman Empire is the Catholic Church. Why do you think the Vatican's in where? Rome. It's Roman. Never went away. We go here in the United States at our Senate seat, and it's on the Senate Hill. That's what it's named in Rome, in their government, because it's an offshoot of it. It never went nowhere. You thought it did. It's been loud and proud and in power, but deceptive, and the multitudes are still not getting it. And then if we don't get it, and if you hold on to, the thing is, a lot of people wake up in degrees. They don't wake up all at one time and know a lot. They'll go learning something, processes, allows them to go to the next level if they don't revert back. That's the true backslide, not your indoctrination dogma from 300 million churches that don't all believe the same, nor fellowship, or nor have unity together, because that's facts. I have to go after it, because religion requires it. It has to be seen for what it is. Esoteric indoctrination dogma. So, is the long established official state a cult along traditional Roman gods. So every one of these cultures have more than one god. That's why you have the Old Testament. I mentioned more and more in that Old Testament. What's that fella say? Besides me, there's no other. I'm jealous. If you're the full power, full knowing, what are you jealous if there's no such a thing as another god? Or is you running game and you're showing you don't have much self-esteem, you lower level god? I think that's what we're seeing, right? Yadabaoth, the demiurge. He is typically depicted as wearing a radiant crown. That's the crown of thorns you see in Jesus. Same thing. In the art, same thing. And driving a horse-drawn carriage through the sky. Book of Revelation talks about him riding through the sky, right? The coinage from the reign of Aurelian until Constantine, and Constantine's the booger of 325 AD, right? That's where we get the beginning of this church. The image of Sol Invictus frequently appeared on Roman coins, symbolizing the emperors and divine protection. There it is. That remind you a little bit of artwork from Christianity? Because it is. Right here where you see the dot. Maybe I can make it bigger. Let me go over here, get me off, and I can get it bigger. And we can see, I hope you guys can see, that's Sol Invictus. The pagan god that helped Christianity conquer the Roman Empire. That's BS. That statement there is bullshit. I'm going to be real tonight. Because it's a continuation of the Roman Empire. Help Christianity. Come on. DS. I'm just going to be honest. That's bullshit. Full-fledged indoctrination. But Constantine didn't do nothing special but bring on a military of the same program. Stop. I'm not dumb. We ain't playing tonight. That's what I'm telling you. I'm not playing tonight. We're going to be real. That's a joke. But notice this. They'll tell you this. Romans refused to worship the emperor. This is the same thing. They actually flipped it because it didn't happen right away. It took hundreds of years to flip the acceptance of this Christian, replacing Sol Invictus and the 25th, which is actually, we're going to get into even more where this came from before the Romans and Sol Invictus. Sol Invictus is actually the unconquered sun. And Constantine, that joker in the praise, that guy call up for his bullshit. That's what he is. Oh yeah, we ain't playing. Truth needs to be said. Constantine, the motherfucker's a joke. And I'm sorry, I won't drop no more cussing. I'm just being real. The direct lies they show, right, just kills me. But the indoctrinated will suck it up like it's a cupcake. So let's go here. The Roman knows two souls. The worship of the first soul in GGs was the limit of the eternal city itself, a god of agriculture. Their first temple, located on a coronal hill, is said to have been built by Sabbatean king Tatius. The legendary rival turned the ally of Rome, equally legendary founder Romulus. The cult indigenous survived into the Republican and early imperial periods. Augustus constructed temples of them. They had temples of this stuff. Converted a giant of Nero into the god by adding a crown. There's your crown of thorns. The sun. It's really the sun. Added soul's name. So very interesting that we go here, right? Very interesting that we go here. Back to here. I hope it's... Let me go out just to check. And we'll go out and come back again because I got more to share. We're just getting rolled. We're just getting rolling with this baby. And we're at 33 minutes. So yeah, let's share this again. Before we get in the second part. There is a second part to get into. Just had to share that. That's the coins. That's what they had. And... connection to Christmas, and they're going to go all through that and try to placate. The dates are the key to know. They just took a date of a Roman of Sol Invictus, which is about the unconquered sun, the light that always returns, and notice it goes hand in hand with a canonical version of Jesus' story. Why? Jesus is crucified and rises 3 days later. In astrological or astronomy, the sun actually is said not to move from the 21st, which was last night, the longest night in the winter solstice, the longest darkness night. This is the beginning of the 22nd, which is a minute less, because this is how it starts working, right? We're moving towards the sun of springtime, when behold, everything comes new. That's a scripture too in the New Testament, right? It's the same thing. And the rebirth, where we're still going to be born again, it's the sun's rebirth, because the sun has no movement from the 25th. 21st through the 25th, 3 days, that no movement was called in the tomb by Sol Invictus. This goes hands in hands with the canonized version of Christianity and the crucifixion, right? Christian adoption. While historians debate whether Christians specifically chose, there's nothing to debate. What Christians? If it's Rome, they are all behind it. They're the powers. Regular people didn't have powers to make these choices. Come on now. Quit playing the games with me. Writing stuff and not being really, just being deceiving. The historians in the debate, oh yeah, here we come the debate. The pagan festival arrived through the independent calculations. Two celebrations eventually converged. The same suggests Christian recognition of the date as Christmas, 200 AD, predating Aurelian's cut. And the evolution, the syncretism, which definitely goes into the Mithras, right? Because they had the Mithras. These were secret societies in Rome. The soldiers were in these secret societies. The secret societies, they were things connected to Sol Invictus. Sol Invictus is the unconquered sun that always goes down, but will always rise again. December, that's why we're celebrating the 25th. It's Sol Invictus. And it was changed to Jesus. It took a few hundred years because it wasn't bought right away. This was really in their culture. We're talking Rome. Roman Empire fell. The Roman Catholic Church is nothing but the Roman Empire. Names are not changed, because if you do your history and you look up these names, you'll realize these are the same names in the same families. That's obtainable. If you want to know truth, or if you want to play the dunce, you can keep being unenlightened and do your same old with your indoctrination. But them who are awake are looking for the truth. We're not, because the truth will slap you and knock you around, but it will not. But you will change. If you don't want the truth, and you'll just keep having a belief system. And I'm telling you, it's better to not believe and just say, I don't know. But when you know, you don't say you believe. You say, I'm a knower. And that's what the word gnostic means. You're a knower. You're experienced in a spiritual account of a revelation. You know that you know. Whether anybody else knows, that ain't your problem. You know. So notice the transition it brings Christian, the Vatican necropolis, and modern today. So Sol Invictus recognized a holiday by the Satanic Temple, celebrating the pursuit of knowledge, unconquered human spirit. It's also the name of the British neo-folk band Faith No More. So let's go out. We got one more to share for sure. I'm telling you, when we start looking at this and breaking this down, for those knowers who want to know greater truth, it's there. It's undeniable there. It's undeniable. That's why when you take the Gnostic, that's why I'm so much, because I was very much knew that when I left the traditional church, I was apostolic. Pentecostal. Yeah, I was apostolic Pentecostal. Baptized in Jesus' name and all this stuff. If anybody knows what I'm talking about, they know that I know. They'll say, oh my God, really? Woke up by a strong hand. A very unique day and experience I had. And I mentioned kind of like when we went over Philip K. Dick's. I was moved out with a strong hand out of religion. It changed my life. I started having revelation knowledge come to me. I started having very much my intuition, clairvoyance, all this stuff was activated. I had an experience with another guy I knew that it was like an activation of a visitation of light. Because this is all about, you're the light stuck in density, a physical body, a temple, right? But you're not the temple. But you live in the temple. You are, but you're not. Two things can be true at once. But here's the thing is, in the Sol Invictus, right, is this was a Roman pledge. This was a Roman secret society. It was. Excuse me. Also, I mentioned something that might have caught your ears. I said before 325 AD, before the Council of Nicaea and Constantine and the upheaval of Christianity and what went with it, Christianity was a secret society. And you go, no, it wasn't. Oh, it was. That's why nobody had hands on it with control until 325 AD to dictate their strong-arming political movement like Rome did, right? With the Pope. Yeah. Nobody knew that. Nobody did that. It was secret society, mystery schools driven with different folks being in different mystery schools, practicing different things and having revelation knowledge, enlightenment knowledge, and practicing secret society stuff to be awakened, to pass, that this knowledge was something to be brought into you, and you just don't give it to anybody, because the reality, and this is hard for a lot of us who are ways in the rest, a lot of us are not ready to hear this, and neither are they worthy to hear it. And you might not like what I said, because some people don't have the ears or the eyes to see, like I mentioned in the early part of the story of eyes wide shut. We're observing people that can't observe. Whether it's family or friends, we are observing people that don't have the ability to observe. We are watching and seeing people that don't have the ability to see. Come on now. Many have ears and can't hear, many have eyes and can't see. We're observing them who can't hear and can't see also. They may be your brother. They may be your sister. You hear what I'm saying? They may be your family member. But doesn't mean just because they can see. So this is where Gnosticism is. It was the secret society of Christianity that comes from different areas. It's not culture-based. There's a Gnostic Christianity. There's a Gnostic Sufism. There's a Gnostic Buddhism. All of it, the Gnostic aspect means the truth and the reality we live scientifically, not held down to culture. It actually has a foundation in the beginning in Kemet, Egypt. Because I know the difference. Some may not lump them as being the same. I know they're not the same. One side's one way, one side's the other way. But it comes from, it is a continuation of Horus, Isis, and all the spiritual beliefs creation, because they had secret societies within Egypt. You go, no. Yes. Breaking all. We got to break it off and tell the truth. Yeah, they did. Why do you think in the book of Old Testament, when it says Moses learned everything and learned all the wisdom of Egypt. Come on now, I'm going to break this down, bust your religion open, because he had to go there to get the wisdom and the knowledge, because what they had wasn't it. And then took it and applied it to all the other wisdoms and knowledge they took of other places. In the story, Moses learned it, right? Moses learned it. And then we can go back to the Mount Sinai and all that, which is, we're talking about the Babylonian, and they learned all the Babylonian priesthood stuff, and it's just a continuance of stuff. I can go deeper in that, but we're going to stay to this because I have another little bit to share to take it. We're going to go and travel, and we're going to show you how this is connected to Egypt. Also, predating even the Greeks, who learned a lot of this knowledge. The Greeks really took Egyptian Kemet knowledge of spirituality and embraced it and taught it. Secret societies taught it. These books, the Nag Hammadi Library for Christian Gnosticism, was found in Egypt. Why? Because they were doing it there. It wasn't just there, it was doing Sufism, which is an occultic spiritual teaching in Muslims, not just in that, indoctrinated exoteric Muslimism. Egypt, Coptic. Before Coptic is what it is now, it definitely has Gnostic. Even the Eastern, a lot of the Eastern Christianity that you'd find in Russia, Eastern Europe, that broke away from the Catholic Church because of doctrines, have more Gnosticism than your church that hides it with their, to be true, the indoctrination of dogma, belief systems, not knowers. Let me just believe. Belief's not knowing anything. I believe. You can believe anything, and it could be just like, there's no such a thing as that, and you believe in that. I mean, real stuff. Right? You can believe some stuff that's like, why would you believe that? We're told in traditional of this to believe it. This goes into Sol Invictus, and now we're going to even take it back farther in history, past Sol Invictus. See, Sol Invictus, it was secret societies also in Rome. Remember, this is a Roman Catholic Church. Roman Empire. If the Roman Empire died, what would you call it? Roman Catholic Church. I see the real. And that's really observing, as I said. We're seeing those who don't know how to observe with their eyes because they don't have eyes to see, nor do they have ears to hear. Another thing to share as we go into the last aspect of this video. We're gonna travel a little bit. All right. So we talked about Sol Invictus, right? The unconquered sun. And Egypt deities, Isis and Horus, aren't directly linked as the same entity. They share common themes of the solar worship, divine birth, rebirth at the winter solstice. In that aspect, you can take that right into Christianity. They say it's not the same entity. I don't buy it. I don't necessarily buy that at all. I'm not saying it's not true, but I will look deeper into that because first glance, I think that's some more Tommy Rudd, like my old apostolic pastor used to call things that weren't true. He wouldn't say like I did BS because he was more righteous than me. See that look? Even though truth is not near anything but the reality, he would use the word Tommy Rudd, meaning it's crap. It's not true. So we're looking at the rebirth winter solstice. That's what the winter solstice is. It's the rebirth, being born again. Solar worship, divine birth, virgin birth, influencing later traditions like Christianity, with Horus being a solar deity born to Isis. Sol Invictus, a Roman sun god whose festival on the 25th overlapped with Christmas. Early Christians adopted this symbology, connecting Jesus' birth to the return of the light. Jesus said he is the light of the world because it is the same. It's not necessarily a historical story, and that's what we got to get out of. There's no proof that it's a historical story, but the greater story is that it's within you. Because I can take the Old Testament, we've talked about that, the Old Testament God, and we take Jesus. They're not alike. That ain't dada for him. Not at all. And he's telling you this in the canonized version. He said, I've quoted the scriptures. He's telling you this. So what we see is a connection. They turn this, so connect similar solar focus, sun, That's why he's the son of God. Horus is a sky god associated with the sun. Sol Invictus was the sun in the Roman worship part. Same thing. It just went from the Romans, and who preceded the Romans isn't the Romans. The Romans are not before Egypt. Egypt's older. Both representing the conquering light. The winter solstice birth, the birth of Horus, the returning light, and the celebration of Sol Invictus, the rebirth, the unconquered sun, which always between 21st and 25th always comes back again because it's unconquered. It may take a hit, might have to go in the tomb, but it will rise again, right? At the same time of year, because it's a winter solstice. It's when the sun dies on the 21st and rises again the 25th. Divine Mother. Isis is the mother of Horus, a prominent mother goddess figure, echoing the divine lineage associated with the solar deities. They might tell you, but that's what Mary is. Nobody has virgin births. There's no such thing as them. And you say, why are they telling us there's a little of virgin births? It's impossible. You have to have a male and feminine and masculine ends to come together. The virgin birth out of this is that woman, that feminine aspect, has not been touched by man or indoctrination of man's mind. That's what the virgin means. Divine motherhood, right? All these figures embody themes of overcoming darkness, new beginnings, salvation, and are resonated across cultures, ground for syncretism, and then Christianity comes later. And we're going to even go different pantheons. Sol Invictus is a Roman, Hellenistic. Isis and Horus are Egyptian. Mythological roles. Horus is the son of Isis and Osiris, right? Avenging his father. Sol Invictus is an epithet for various sun gods linked to Apollo. In essence, the connections are made about direct lineages, about shared archetypes. Now we're talking real stuff. It's just an archetype going from one society to the next society, changing the names that match your culture. That's what it is. Sol Invictus in December is about the sun's change in the astrology to the winter solstice, where the sun appears not to move for 3 days. It's in the tomb, and on the 25th, when you have the Magi, which are magicians that came to see Jesus, which are magicians that came to see Jesus, which are magicians, which in your indoctrination tells you shouldn't mess with. How about the Mephiles? And they're astrologists, which you say you're not supposed to mess with either. Got to crush indoctrination. This is the awakening. Especially indoctrination teaching that's not true. Truth will set you free. And sometimes you have to break away from them. That's what, they are. In essence, the connections are about direct lineage, but about shared archetypes, timing, solstice, and made these three pagan solar traditions familiar to the Roman world and where Christianity spread. See, it went from Dionysus, which I believe even here it talks about the unconquered sun, right? I believe here. It says similarities between Jesus, Dionysus, Sol Invictus, and Mithra. And then Invictus, this was a Roman religion, very secret society amongst the political people. Same family members run Rome. You're Rome. Look at what they wear. When you go to the Roman Catholic, if you don't see symbols, you're lost, because the symbols will tell you the truth. With the staff that has the pineal gland looking cluster, right? And the fish head, which is Sumerian, the Sumerian Dagon godship, way ancient, way before, you're talking about Sumeria, you're talking about one of the first cultures. And so we see the different pantheons, Hellenistic, definitely Roman and Hellenistic, or Greek and Roman, or Egyptian, which really are really Kemet is what they would call it. Mythical roles that just told you the archetypes. Let's look at this. See if this pops up. I want to look at Dionysus. Hopefully Dionysus pops up. So, another interesting thing about December 25th is that even though these few days after the astronomical solstice, you can begin to see that the light is indeed returning. Some scholars suggest that the 25th date for the solstice reflects the perceivable change, so that even through the exact moment of the December 25th, it becomes noticeable about the 25th is. So there we have it. The reason to connect to the winter solstice birth date of Horus, the Holy Child Horus, with the traditional 25th birth date of Mary's Holy Child Jesus, same story, just names have changed. Yet I don't think early Christians stole the date. See, this is nothing about us stealing the date. This isn't intellectual. They didn't look at intellectual property the way we do now, of stealing your IDs, your art, your business. This was something that was handed down that was the same story, just the names were changed in another culture story. You go, come on now. I don't think Christians stole it. You know, that's besides the date from Horus. Any other solar god always and always will be. I have a book called The 16 Saviors Before Christ or Before Christianity. Yeah, may have to read that book and go through some of that book. The date from Horus or any other solar gods who always were and always will be born on the winter solstice. There's 16, 17 of them, man. Culturally, way before your Roman Catholic Church. That's just the last. And that's a few, I guess, 2,000 years ago. I always say I guess because sometimes I'm not sure about the dating, because I know the dating in the calendar definitely has some programming towards us. Nor do I think the date has a pagan antecedent, means Christianity was not built on a lie or any degenerate. You know, your opinion means nothing, but anyways, but Christianity, nor should we think that Christians merely copy the religion, you know, stops. And I don't mind even saying that my connection to Christianity now, I wouldn't have told you this months ago. My Christianity is gnostic. It's not Rome. It's not indoctrination. Everything that says it isn't, it is. But the early Christians, as far as ancient Egyptians, indeed have ancient modern worlds. The return of the light, the winter solstice, the coming out of the tomb, and the uplifting of the environmental fact and hopeful spiritual symbol. So I wish many returns, and so yeah, it's very, 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 yes. Here, it was something else I wanted. It was the Dionysus one. I wanted to see what this would do with Dionysus. See, this is where you go. So listen, divine birth. All four figures said to have divine origin. Jesus was born in a virgin. Dionysus was born to Zeus, the immortal Semele. Mithras was born to a rock. Sol Invictus was often depicted as a divine figure. Miracles Jesus performed, turning water into wine. Dionysus turned water into wine before your Jesus story. Christians, a lot of it's copied, man. And the canonized versions are. What you'll see the difference is the Gnostic versions, for me, run circles around it because it's spiritual, I get it. It gets more explanatory. It makes sense. And a lot of it is in there. Miracles, of course, sacrifice, resurrection. Jesus was crucified, resurrection. Dionysus was dismembered and resurrected. Mithras' slaying of the bull is symbolic of rebirth. Sol Invictus, a sun god, symbolizes the daily cycle of death and rebirth. You die daily, Paul said. Oh yeah, it's all connected. Communal meals. Jesus instituted Last Supper. Communal meals. Mithraic rituals include communal meals. Dionysus rituals often invoked communal feasts and celebrations. Followers. Each group devoted followers. Jesus had his disciples. Dionysus had Bacchae or Menines. Mithra had his initiates, secret society. Sol Invictus was worshipped by many in the Roman Empire and all political. I'm going to say this is not written there, but their political members and their military leaders, however, were in that secret society. And it's the same families that adopted Christianity and just kind of pushed it in a new religion as we entered into a new time and new age, right? Symbolism of Jesus referred to as the light of the world. Mithra was known as the light of the world. Sol Invictus means unconquered sun. Dionysus was not a sun god, but was associated with light and life. Rituals, festivals, Christians' rituals included Eucharist, various holy days. Mithric rituals included initiation rites and communal meals. Dionysus festivals involved ecstatic celebrations. Sol Invictus had a major festival on 25th. Am I surprised? No. Dual nature. Jesus was both human and divine. Dionysus was both of good, joy, and madness. Mithra is a mediator between heaven and earth. Wasn't Jesus a mediator? Sol Invictus represents both the physical sun, divine presence. Same thing. Triumphal entry. Jesus enters Jerusalem on a donkey, married by Dionysus. Mythical journeys. Mithras, birth from a rock. And Sol Invictus, daily rise is symbolic triumph and renewal. Many will say, I find it funny, burnt through a rock, isn't Jesus the rock? Oh, yeah. And I'll have, and it mentions their 25th. We're almost done with this. Almost done with this. The 25th relation. Jesus, December 25th, is celebrated as the birth of Jesus Christ, known as Christmas. The date was chosen by early Christian church to coincide with the holiday of the Roman festival Sol Invictus. Sol Invictus, the unconquered, was celebrated the 25th. Nothing can run from, nothing to hide. It's in your face. The date was chosen to mark the winter solstice because this is what the story of Jesus in the canonized version of his death was connected to the sun. The S-U-N and the S-O-N are the same. Mithraism, a mystery religion practiced in the Roman Empire, celebrated the birth of Mithra on the 25th. Same story. And the date was likely chosen to align with the festival of Sol Invictus. So Sol Invictus and even Mithras is connected. Dionysus does not have a direct association with the 25th. Its festivals, as Dionysus celebrate different times, primarily in spring and autumn. And you know what? That makes more sense for New Year's. You know that, right? I hope you know that. That actually makes more sense for New Year's. Because, let's go, we can go back out. Dang, we're almost at the hour. But I'm not surprised it would go an hour today. Very good. Very, very, very good. Was the we're seeing this is ancient history that did all this the same. And you're thinking something that started that was brand new and it was different. It wasn't. In fact, you go to the Gnostic Gospels, it's not really about a death and a burial. It's about waking up to truth. And even in the Gnostic Gospels, the story of Jesus is that's not really me being crucified. It's very interesting when you read that and see that, because this goes hand in hand with the sun, the light of the world. Notice we call our sons the sun, right? Our male children, the sun. So guess what happens? You would get this output. You would get the same thing. I mean, I have a book, and I think I'm going to get into that book because I'm going to get into a little bit more of some of my books. I have a book called The 16 Saviors Before Christianity, and it names them all and goes through them all. We're going to touch on that. Glad to be here. This is my version Christmas gift to you, or my solstice gift to you. And then you can even go deeper into this, why cultures had Christmas trees and all this. This goes hand in hand with what we're talking about today, and it will make you go, oh, that's why they use Christmas trees. This is why they use Christmas bulbs. Everything in there, you'll go, oh, it was before that. And then they would say pagans, but go, like I said, go look up the word pagan. It doesn't mean what you think it means. You were lied to, and you accepted it without looking into it yourself. What we need to stop. We're awakened souls. The last one you listen to, I'm sorry, is the mints. Yeah, those are the ones you don't trust. And I know they're hearing me and saying that. I don't got 150 million followers. But definitely. No, it's just the truth. The truth don't care. How much does the truth really mean to you? Because the truth can be it can be a rock, like it said. Was it Dionysus went through the rock? Can be a rock. There's even a scripture that says if the people don't praise him or worship him, the rocks will cry out, right? Notice this is a borrowing of even the different ones. There's parts of the rock. It's a good foundation, right? And it talked about coming out of the rock. I think, oh, here we go with the Old Testament story. Hit the rock and the water came out of it. Oh, yeah, covering all bases today. But anyways, this was December 25th. Birthday or Sol Invictus in Egypt. We seen it was way before any of this. Horus and Isis celebration of life. The father, mother, and son, child, Mary with the child. Look at all these this artwork of Mary with the child. See, they downplayed Mary. The Catholic Church doesn't. They give her a little praise. The other churches, the ones that come out, the Protestant, have really downplayed Mary because they don't understand feminine energy. They don't understand this is spiritual. They ain't talking about necessarily a person all the time. There's feminine energy is in feminine salamanders, male salamanders, right? Orcas. female energy, frequency. It's the unseen feminine and masculine that we don't see. We try to put it just in the human form of lower consciousness. Because I had a discussion with somebody the other day, Patty, I believe, and we're talking about how the patriarch did to the feminine aspect. It did. It squashed it. Because there's a lot of times that the feminine aspect ruled and had power. And you will say, so the men were down. The men allowed that. Because physically they can stop it, right? But it didn't mean roles changed. Even when I know I have a Choctaw bloodline, a lot of our Indian native bloodlines are definitely matriarch. It is. But they're not the chiefs. But guess who picks the chiefs in the tradition of the Native American? In our tradition was the women pick the chief, not the men. Now it's more election and stuff like that to have a chief and an assistant chief and different delegates of the community, right? But back then, the women would pick who the chief is because the women had that. They wouldn't do that. And then think about it. When things needed to be done physical, the women didn't say, oh, and this is what's wrong now. What's happened is the feminisms created a false identity of feminine power because it's all horrible. They're horrible masculines. They say they don't have no need. The true feminine knows it needs the masculine because in the physical, I might be the queen, or I might be this may be off a matriarch, but I need you men to do the physical work that we can't do because it's factual. Men are physically stronger in different aspects, and men would be used because the true feminine aspect of it would know that both are needed because they both create together, right? They do. They both create. You need both. So the mother and child's story in Horus and Isis, that's where we see the pictures of the mother and child is Mary and Jesus. Same story. Same story. It preceded even the Roman story of Sol Invictus and Mithras. We even got a little bit of Mithraism. How Mithraism honored the 25th because that's the unconquered sun. The sun is not conquered when it dies. It rises again on the 25th. And that's the Jesus story. It's about the S-O-N. It is. But we can get a little spiritual more when we get into Christ and Christ consciousness. That's when we start getting into some other stuff of deeper honor and revelation knowledge. But I had to do this. I'm recording the night of the will be the 20. This is 11:36 p.m. In 24 minutes will be the 22nd. I'm going to put this out for late morning to early afternoon for the 24th, the eve, right? This is when this will go out for watch. You guys have a great day. Appreciate you. Have a happy holidays. Visit your friends. You people in bad weather, cold weather. California, be careful on your traveling. They say we're going to get blasted with water, and I'm just observing what's happening here with all this 400 miles of fog that's been on us. And it was here last winter, too, at times, which it's not normal. But anyways, you guys have a great day.